Hey guys, so today we are at Roast 24/7 and this is a very exciting video of how a bean makes it to the cup.
So this is the huge roasting machine which is there in Roast 24/7 Hyderabad cafe. And here's Urvaksh, who is the coffee connoisseur of Roast 24/7, and he will be taking us through the entire journey of how a bean makes it to the cup.
Cherry is grown like this on plants. Okay. We have managed to get one twig of that. The cherries are dry now, but if it were ripe, it would look like this. So the cherries can be picked in two ways: either hand selective picking or strip picking. In selective picking, whether you are educated enough to recognize a ripe cherry or not, they put a band on your arm, on your wrist. It will be basically the color of the ripe cherry. So all you have to do is just match the color and then you pick the ripe cherries. So that is selective picking. You manage to get all the ripe cherries. Or the strip picking, where you strip down the entire branch. So this is done more in case of commercial grades, where uniformity is not a major issue. So after that, there are majorly two processes: sun-dried way of processing the cherry and dry water washing. So once the red cherry has dried, it looks like this. This is the dried cherry. So this is sun drying. So they pick the ripe cherries and they put it for drying in the sun, and this is how it turns out. And if it's a dry process, the next step in this process is depulping. So in the depulping, the end result will be this, the green bean. If it's a washed process, the cherry is first sorted and then it is put in water to check for float test. The cherries that float to the surface are unripe cherries and they are taken out, and the ripe cherries that sink to the bottom, those are collected and then they are put for fermentation. It can be open tank fermentation, it can be anaerobic fermentation, it can be carbonic macerated, all that. Later these cherries, after this fermentation is done, they usually depulp the cherry. So in depulping, there's certain amount of fruit, certain amount of pulp that is still left on the seed. This pulp we call it as mucilage. Okay, so if it's a wash process, the next step is it will be rubbed down and the mucilage will be removed and it will be then in this form. This is called the parchment. Okay, so still this is not the beans that we have. This is an outer coating that it has. Once you peel the outer coating, that is the parchment, then you get the green seed. So this is the parchment and that's the green seed. So once that is done, the green seed. Now when I said it spends certain amount of time in fermentation, the fermentation can be done naturally just by adding water and natural yeast present in the cherry and the natural sweetness present in it. Or you can be fancy and you can add raw papaya, raw pineapple to it. It has certain enzymes that elevates the fermentation process. Not necessary you will taste papaya in your coffee, not necessary it will be tasting like pineapple, but it definitely enhances certain profile in the coffee. Like,
so the fruity notes which we talk about are if we have these ingredients?
So see, fruity notes can be generated through roasting also. A light roast, a medium light, medium roast. You can, and if you are extracting it on a pour over, you will get more fruity notes. Like we can add body to the coffee. Like for example, a papaya fermented coffee will have a more smooth body, a creamy mouthfeel, and a pineapple fermented coffee will be more tropical, fruity tasting coffee. And then you have this banana fermentation also, where they use the stem of the banana leaf, banana plant. this is fermentation. This is done at the cherry and seed separation stage, before that stage. Then there is infusion. The infusion can be done as you can see there's a barrel of whiskey there. So this was once upon a time used to age whiskey. Now it has solved its purpose. Now the whiskey companies don't want to use it any further. So it still has oak wood still has those aromas intact. So a green bean is now like a sponge. It absorbs the aromas and flavors in its surrounding. So we have stored green beans in that. So it is taking all the flavors out of the oak barrel. And after 70-80 days, we'll get a whiskey barrel aged coffee. So when we roast it, the flavors will be enhanced. Then you can have, we just did a micro lot of mint infused coffee. So I don't know if you will be able to, you can just pass it around. So this is coffee, you can inhale it and look for the notes. So this is green seeds infused with mint for around 50 days. So you'll get a hint of, just a delicate hint of mint. So this was our experimental lot, and we realized that we'll have to spend some more days of infusion, extra days.
Because this won't give you the flavor of mint.
Yes.
Mint, because it's very.
So when you brew this coffee, when you finish the coffee, when it is no more in your mouth,
Aftertaste.
The aftertaste has that very
hint of
refreshing,
mint.
That taste after you have a mint, that taste is there. So yeah. So this machine basically, once the bean is in this stage, then we calculate the moisture content in the bean, and then we do sample roasting. In sample roasting, we roast the beans, and then next day we cup it. After 24 hours we cup it. Cupping is tasting the coffee in its rawest form. So you don't. These are all brewing equipments. The espresso machine, the siphon machine, the Chemex machine, the pour over, the AeroPress, the French press. These are all brewing machines. All coffees will have a different characteristic. A same coffee will have different characteristics on these brewing machines. So when we are cupping a coffee, we want to cup it in its rawest form with least amount of human interaction. So we just grind the powder and we pour hot water on top of it. And then we look for aromas, we look for flavors, we look for notes that we want to put on the label, and we score it. It's a blind tasting. So if we get a score of 90, we are happy, we don't change the profile, we'll keep the profile on the big machine also. But if we are not happy, we'll again work on the small roaster and see if we want to roast it light or dark. Once we've decided that profile, then we load these beans in the hopper. And this is a LPG powered drum. I think the whole idea of keeping the beans in rotation is to keep it, cook it, but not in one surface. If it is in contact with a hot surface for too long, it will catch fire. It will first become cold and then it will catch fire. So right now the drum is rotating, and then we put the heat source at the bottom. So from this you will be able to see, first a pilot flame will go on, and then the whole range will set. So what we do is we heat the drum, and the roasting is happening. We monitor the color change from the peeping hole, and we have a sampler spoon. We can use them to monitor the color change, but most predominantly we use it after the first crack, where we start to smell the aromas as a guide. And the parameters that we look down for is the roasting. The parameters that we look down for is drop down temperature. Drop down temperature is the temperature at which the beans were dropped into the drum. Then the turnaround temperature. When I am heating the drum at a temperature of 195 degrees, if I drop down 7 kg of green beans into the drum, it will kill the temperature of the drum. It will make the temperature of the drum go down to 73 degrees. So that is the turnaround temperature, 73 to 74. So that is turnaround is the only temperature, only time in the roasting where we see the time and not the temperature. So we have a window of 1 minute 30 seconds to 2 minutes. If the turnaround has happened in that window, that means the bean storage and everything has been fine. The moisture content in the bean is suitable. If not, there's something wrong and we'll need to do changes to the storage. For the dry end phase, so basically this is what we are trying to achieve in roasting. We take the green bean from this to this. Okay. So the first change in color, the browning of the bean, that is the dry end phase. This we call it the dry end phase or roast start phase. So this is where the roasting actually begins. So, and this is where the Maillard reaction starts. Maillard basically is the browning, the caramelizing of anything. Basically, when you burn a sugar, it becomes brown. So that reaction is happening here. It's just a simple bread slice that you toast in your toaster. That is also a Maillard reaction. So same thing is happening in the beans also. Once the Maillard reaction has happened, then we look for the most important stage, that is the first crack. In the first crack, the beans start to pop like a popcorn. So the beans, the green beans are heavier, the roasted beans become lighter. But roasted beans will become bigger in size than the green beans because the bean has emitted carbon dioxide and other gases along with certain aroma compounds also. And second crack is the start of the dark roast. First crack is the start of the light roast, second crack is the start of the dark roast. Between the first crack and the second crack, what we do with the beans will decide the profile of the coffee. It's a light roasted coffee, medium roasted coffee, dark roasted coffee. Yeah. So in this cafe, we don't do a second crack. We keep it to a medium and a medium dark roast. Once that profile is achieved, we drop down the beans and we pull it down. Okay. This is to maintain uniformity, and the fan that you're hearing right now, that is cooling the bean. So we have a window of 4 minutes, 4.5 to 7 minutes. We try to cool down the beans to room temperature because the beans, then when they are dropped out of this drum to this pan, it is at a temperature of 210 degrees. We want to cool it down to 28 degrees in 4.5 minutes. That's because we have created sugars. And at the same time we are creating bitterness also. Right now, if we don't cut down the roasting or heating, what will happen is it will continue to create sugars and bitterness, but the rate of rise of bitterness will be very quick, whereas sugars will take a long time to rise, and we'll lose the natural sweetness in the mouth. Once that is done, we box it. And this is where it will spend 7 days for degassing. So every 2 days we'll open the lid, we'll shuffle the entire beans. So the beans, after roasting, it emits carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. Once that is done, we again put the lid back because we don't want too much of interaction with oxygen also because it will cause oxidation. Once that is done, we'll continue to do this process every 2 days for the next 7 days. And after 7 days, you'll see those big cylinders up there. We'll put the beans inside. So there we can maintain a first in first out system. So we load it from the top and extract it from the bottom. And then based on the type of coffee machine we are going to use for brewing, that type of grind size will do. Every coffee machine will have a different grind size. No two coffee machine will have same grind size. How do you introduce flavor? Yeah, so all before roasting. So anything after roasting is artificial. Yes. So whatever profile we try to do before the roasting, and we can enhance during roasting. That's all. Yes, but when you have a hazelnut latte or a vanilla latte, that time we use syrups, flavors. And this is a 10 kg batch roaster. This takes care of the roasting. This takes care of the coffee requirements for 9 cafes in Hyderabad. This is This is where the smoke is taken to the smoke incinerator. Basically, we burn down the carbon, and after the carbon is burned down, we then send it outside to the environment. So this machine has no carbon emission into the environment.
This is amazing.
This I was pretty confident that in a few years Hyderabad will be a caffeine capital.
Wow, this was very informative and a wonderful experience. Now I'm gonna enjoy my coffee. This is a siphon coffee, and you also go grab yours. Thank you so much.